Hello, welcome back. I'm Mike, KG4VDK, and we're going to talk about Christmas in July, specifically how arcOS uses a community module to make how the local club I'm a part of be able to help out with the Christmas parade a little bit easier. I'm part of the Stones River Amateur Radio Club here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and every year they help out with the Christmas parade, getting people registered for the parade, lining people up, and making sure we know where the front and end of the parade is, that sort of thing. I got to participate for the first time last year and had a blast. But as you do in this hobby, you try to find ways to iterate and make things better, more efficient, all in the name of trying to have more time to stand around and drink coffee. So when we did it last year at registration, vehicles would pull up with their float trailer and they would be checked off against a spreadsheet that was provided by the city. They'd get their entry number put on a little piece of paper like a placard on their dashboard, and they'd be sent to line up for the parade. But that was all done on pen and paper, and then every entry had to be called in by voice over the radio to net control, because the whole goal for us is to get a roster of our entrants to the local news crew so that as they pass the news camera, they can overlay the correct organization name or whatever information they need to put on the screen to let people know, hey, look, this is who's in our parade. And so we were doing that all over the radio by voice, which deals with a long time in transmitting over the air, having to do corrections, whether that's spelling or you need to make an update to something. And so I just thought that, there's got to be a better way. And so what I've come up with is published as a community module in arcOS so that any club that might be doing something similar to this can use it. But we're going to leverage a web server local to just the registration area. It won't be internet connected, but a local Wi-Fi router with a web server running on arcOS that each person working at registration can attach to that local Wi-Fi on their phone, browse to arcos.local, and be presented with a menu to view all entrants, add an entrant, modify an entrant, or delete an entrant. So those, when they're submitted, can be plugged into, or they get saved onto the arcOS machine there at registration that's running the web server. And there's an ability to generate a CSV file from that, a comma separated value file from that, which can be opened in any spreadsheet editor like Microsoft Excel, or in the case of arcOS, LibreOffice Calc. And so we're going to use FLDigi or FLAMP through FLDigi to transmit our CSV files from registration to net control. We'll save tons of time in voice transmission. I've got a test file with 200 entries in it, which is more than we expect to have. We expect about 125. But with 200 entries, we can transmit that file in just a minute, which is way less than it would take to read that much over the air. Plus any corrections can just be updated single lines transmitted, and we can do that in seconds. So that's what we're moving towards. And so I'd like to show you how that works. So let's jump in and we'll take a quick look into how the parade module works. Okay, first let's go through the hardware required to do this parade module. We'll start with your laptop. You'll need a computer, and then your arcOS USB. You'll need a DigiRig cable. You'll need a radio. You'll need a DigiRig. You'll need a USB-C cable to go from the DigiRig to the computer, and you'll need a wireless router. In this picture I also have a battery to power that router away from an AC outlet, and then I have Orange Guy who's providing cat control, though that's not required. He just felt like he needed the help, so there he is. So let's move on to the software side of what we need. Okay, From the software side of things, let's take a look at the Parade module itself. So let's open up the arcOS data portion of the drive. We'll go into QRV under your call sign in the arcOS Linux modules and go into the community section, go into the Parade module. And let's start looking around. So we've got parade.sh. This is the module startup script. And that is it in its entirety. It's pretty simple. And then we have some other directories here that this module interacts with. So let's start going through this module startup script and look at what it does. So first, we define its name. It's the Parade module. If we need access to any of this, this is just something that I put in all of the modules. If you need to reference the call sign, the name, city, state, QTH, or location provided by the user setup script, that's always found here. And then we define a few paths to things. But here's where the module work starts. This is actually the module commands function. So the first thing the module does when it starts to run is to notify the user that it's deploying the named module. So we are going to deploying Parade module. Please be patient. Then we're going to install all of the packages that are required to run this module. Most of these are web server files. Then we move down here and we start moving configurations into place. So in the config directory, you'll see the Nginx. That's the web server, Nginx. That's the configuration file for it. We move that into place. Then we move sites available into place. This is where we actually define where the root of our web server lives and what port we're going to be listening on. That's the main things that are found there. So back to the Parade script, we just did sites available. Then we delete the existing /var/www/html directory. We're not going to use it. We're going to use our own, this HTML directory. This is where everything that runs the website for this Parade module lives. So we move that into place. Then within that, we're going to create a directory called items, which is where each Parade entry will live. We change the ownership of the www.html directory to be owned by the user that the web server runs as, www-data. Once we've got all that in place, we restart the Nginx web server service. And then there's a few scripts, the binaries under the Parade in bin, we have an rsync Parade items. That's something that we do down here. And we have a generate Parade CSV script file. So we put those in place in opt arcOS bin, and we make sure that they're marked as executable. Then we add a cron job so that every minute the Parade rsync script, the rsync Parade item script will run. So what that's going to do is make sure that all of the items in var www html items, all of those items, if the system were to reboot, would be lost. That is not in persistent storage. But because we're running this rsync script that synchronizes all of the files in the items directory under HTML to our persistent storage every minute. So the most you could lose is a minute's worth of work if the system went for an unexpected restart. And then the last thing we do is copy the application desktop files into their location on the desktop. So we have one that'll actually generate the CSV files for us, and we have a Parade web interface so we can interact with the actual interface that most people will be using their phone for. So that defines the module commands that are in the module commands function. Then that function runs. It outputs any errors and regular output to a log file, And if it fails, this double pipe character is a bash operator for OR. So do this. If it succeeds, great. If it doesn't, this is your OR. So do this or do this. So if it fails, we send a notification to the top of the screen at the right to let us know that that module has failed. And then if you come in, you can read the log for that. So this is what happens when it runs. This is it installing all the packages and moving things into place. So if there's ever a problem with it running, you can check that log and see if there's any clues in there as to why it may not have run. So that's a look at kind of the structure of this module and what it's actually doing. Now let's see it in use. All right. Here we are back in arcOS. We're inside the community modules directory, and we're going to go ahead and activate the parade module. So we've got the parade module up here at the community directory level. We can close this out. And since we need to enable that module, that means we need to run the station setup. So we pull it back up, hit OK. The station modules start running, or the QRV modules start running. So it says we're deploying the parade module. The network connection that's saved goes ahead and connects. It tells me that my printer's online too. And then it takes just a few seconds for all the packages to get installed for the parade module. So give that dpackage install some time to run, and we'll be notified with QRV modules deployed for KG4VDK. And we now see that we've got a generate parade CSV launcher here on the desktop along with the parade web interface. So we'll open up the web interface. Anything that's on the local network with this machine can access this web server either by host name or by your IP address. Down here at the bottom right, you've got access to that. So here is the web interface. Very simple. I want to make it easy for anybody to use it. So right now we haven't registered any parade participants, but let's say we've got the first ones that pull up, and we're going to issue them placard number 1. And this is Adams Apples. Let's see, who have I used before? Adam Appleseed, 555, 555, 1, 2, 3, 4. And they have brought with them, they've got one truck pulling a trailer, and they've got a tractor that's going to be in the parade from their farm. So they've got 2 vehicles, 1 trailer, and they're going to have 5 people handing out some red delicious apples. So let's see. Delicious apples might get thrown at the crowd. Those weren't menu items there. That's just every time I've messed around with this form, things I've typed in there before. So hopefully none of them were terribly offensive. We'll go ahead and add them to our registry, and then we can go up here and view all. So if you click on view all, you'll be presented with a list of all of the registered entrants to your parade or whatever event you choose to use this for. The placard number you put in there, the organization's name, how many vehicles, how many trailers, how many people they're going to have walking. We've got their contact name. This is a phone number. If you notice down here at the bottom left of this browser window, when you hover over the phone number, that's actually a clickable open up your phone app and call it. So if you needed to do that for somebody that was trying to get in touch with their person for the parade, you can do that. And then the notes, any notes you put in on them go right there. So let's say they come back to you and you need to change something about them. They come back and tell you that our contact phone number is actually 555-4567. We save that. Now when we view all, we see the new number of 4567 is in there. So let's add a couple more real quick. And let's see who else. We've got Beverly's Bunt Cakes already that I've made before. Who else we got? We got Beverly Bingham. What haven't we used? We haven't used 3, 4, 5, 6, so we'll use that. We'll say she's got one vehicle, one little trailer full of cakes, and she's going to have 10 of her friends helping hand out nothing but bunt cakes due to copyright infringement. And then we'll add, let's see, a third one. Let's do Charlie's cotton candy. And we'll do one and no trailers for his cotton candy, and it's just him. He just wanted to be in the parade showing off his business. So don't let that cotton candy get wet. So now we've got all of our entrants there, and let's say we decided ahead of time that we would send every time we had 3 people roll through here, we would let net control get an update, so we can minimize this browser window, and we're going to go ahead and generate our CSV file, which we find here. So we'll display it. And this is the LibreOffice spreadsheet application called Calc. We can select the defaults here and just hit OK. We don't need that. But here we go. Here's your header row that tells you we're dealing with the ID number for the placard, the organization name, the contact, the phone number, vehicles, trailers, walkers, and any notes. And we can just have as many as we'd like here. But that's all the ones that we've put in. We see that we've got the edited phone number here, so that's all accurate. But since we've got that and we're ready to send that out to net control, we're going to use FLAMP to do that. So I've got a handheld here monitoring, and I've got my FT2980 hooked up to the DigiRig. We'll go to the transmit tab on FLAMP and we'll hit add. And so not only when we generate the CSV file does it create a link to it, it saves it on persistent storage firstly, but it creates a link to it here on the desktop so we can reference it and check it out real quick if we need to. But it also puts a copy in the FLAMP directory that is by default looked in when you go to transmit. So it's already in there and ready to go. It's only got 3 rows in there, so it'd take 44 seconds in the MT63 2KL mode. If we use compression, that actually goes up. Sometimes data doesn't compress very well in particular compression methods like base 64. But what we can do if we want to make sure it goes fast is in FLDigi, I have my FLAMP in arcOS is set up to follow whatever is set in FLDigi. So we're going to go to FLDigi, and I'll select BPSK 500. And now, even now, compression still makes it go up. So we'll leave it uncompressed. We'll use BPSK 500. It's in here. We'll hit transmit. We hear the Reed Solomon ID go out, followed by the data. And that's it. We have successfully sent that file using FLAMP to net control. So they can compile that and get that to the news crew. And we have made the parade entry process, I hope, much more efficient. And maybe we can keep working on it and keep making it better for all of us so we can, like I said, sit around and drink more coffee and have more fun hanging out together. So that's a walkthrough of the Parade module and how to use it. Hope you enjoyed that. If you have any ideas about it, please let me know. And we'll see you again soon. Hope to catch you on the air. Thanks for watching.